All right. Good evening, everybody. It is January 5th, 2021. You're now watching Real Talk with Ronnie live. Welcome to our Wednesday night Roundtable special show. First of all, I want to wish you guys a happy Wednesday. We typically start this show on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Today we started at 8:30 because there were a few last minute things that we had to do. And of course, we have our weekly Sunday shows at 8 p.m. Coming off our very, very successful show this past Sunday with Ed Durr, State Senate elect Ed Durr, we had a lot of views. I think we're approaching 2,000 views in 2 days. So that has been a blockbuster. And so I had that contest on Sunday, right, for that gift certificate, and I'm happy to report that we ended our show Sunday like around 9 p.m. and at around 9:04 p.m. I had responses from 3 to 4 people who had already fit the requirements for the contest. So we already had a winner for that first gift certificate, $75 worth at Nanny's. And let me just throw up that website here for you guys to take a look at. So nanny.com, Nanny, okay, Nanny Ristorante in Rochelle Park, a fabulous Italian fine eatery. Okay, so the winner of that first gift certificate got $75 worth to spend at Nanny's. Okay, all right. On our roundtable tonight, we have a very special program. We have 3 very special guests. The first guest is Billy Prempeh. He is my good friend. He is running for Congress in Congressional District 9 here in New Jersey. He was the 2020 GOP nominee when he took on Bill Pascrell. He hopes to have a rematch this year. Okay. Our second guest is Dianna Cereijo, a good friend of mine. She ran for Woodcliff Lake Council last year. She was the GOP nominee. She fell a little bit short due to all the mail-in ballots that came in, at 3 a.m., which was the same deal that happened to me in my race. But, c'est la vie, right? And my final guest tonight is a very special guest. His first time coming on Real Talk with Ronnie, Mr. Steve Carra. Steve Carra is currently a state representative for Legislative District 59 in the great state of Michigan. Okay, he was elected to office this past year. So we're very happy to have him. But more importantly, right now, he's running for Congress. He's running for Congress in what is currently District 6, but I know that that's going to be changed to District 4. And he's running for Congress in the primary against incumbent Representative Fred Upton. Okay. It's important to note that Steve Carra was recently endorsed by President Trump. Personally endorsed by President Trump. So we're very happy to have Steve on our show and pick his brain on this whole process and what it's like to actually talk to President Trump. I know that Billy has also talked to President Trump. So it'll be cool to get their perspectives. All right. So let me bring them on. Billy.
What's going on, Ron? I love being on the show, man.
Dianna. Hello, Dianna.
Hi, good evening.
And finally, Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hello.
All right. So for all of us here, let's make a quick introduction. Why don't we start with Billy?
How's it going, everybody? Pleasure to meet you all. My name is Billy Prempeh from Paterson, New Jersey, and I'm the congressional candidate for 2022. I ran in 2020, and I'm looking to unseat the gentleman known as Basement Bill Pascrell, 26-year incumbent. He's completely wrecked my community, and we're going to give him one heck of a fight this year.
All right. Dianna.
My name is Dianna Cereijo. I'm from Woodcliff Lake. I ran for Woodcliff Lake Council. As Juana said, I did come a little short, but listen, I'm not going to stop the fight. I'm going to keep going.
Okay, perfect. And now finally, our newest guest, Mr. Carra.
Yeah, State Representative Steve Carra here in Michigan, endorsed by President Trump, taking on liberal rhino Fred Upton. He is one of the impeachment 10 rhinos who voted for impeachment of President Trump, and this will be his last term.
All right, perfect. All right, so guys, I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your Wednesday night to come on this roundtable show. So, Billy, let's start with you, right? The redistricting process just happened in New Jersey. I think in Michigan, it's still happening, right? It's not finished yet, right, Steve?
Just finished last week.
Okay. So they came out with the final results.
We have final maps here, yes.
Okay, so Steve, in your current race, does the redistricting favor you, or does it,
It remains a Republican district, and Fred Upton has less of a percentage of his entire district he had before. So going into Calhoun County and going up into Ottawa County, he's going to have new people who don't already know him and don't have a loyalty towards him. Plus, it's different this time around. He's been in longer than I've been alive, 35 years. I'm 32. And so he's definitely built a lot of connections in the community, but it's a new district. It's not entirely the same. And so it'll be easier to tap in that way. And after you voted impeach, it's a new game now.
Okay, great. So I think in your situation, Steve, is very similar to Billy's, right? So Billy, you are also running against someone who's probably been in office longer than you've been alive, right?
Well, he's been in politics longer than I've been alive. He's been in Congress for 26 years so far, but he's been in politics for well over 45 years.
Okay. In terms of the redistricting, Billy, I think this year you got I might want to say it's a late Christmas present or a very early Christmas one, right?
Oh, it was early. Yeah. Well, but to be honest, kind of just seeing how the race went in 2020, I saw Frank Pallotta did very, very well in District 5. He got 45%. Rosemary Becky, she got 47% in District 11. Tom Kane, he got 49% in 7. In my race, I did significantly better than any Republicans done in the past 35 years. We were able to add an additional 35,000 voters to vote for a Republican, most for the first time ever. What we did was we focused all of our efforts on targeting the unaffiliated voters and getting them to come out. We were able to achieve the impossible in under 6, maybe 7 months with only $30,000. Now, the district has changed significantly. This was done when we were a D16 district. Now that the demographics have changed completely, we're now a D9 district. All the major big money cities for the Democrats, Fort Lee, Englewood Cliffs, Englewood, Teaneck, all those areas got completely removed from the district and put into District 5, while District 9 did what I was expecting. It went more into the west and it picked up a lot more redder areas. The only thing that I was off on was we didn't win Wayne. We won a portion of Wayne, but not all of Wayne, and we didn't get Totowa, but we picked up Franklin Lakes, Pompton Lakes, and Oakland, and a couple of other cities in between. So Pascrell's actually going to have to get out of his basement this time and run. Last year, he had, the benefit of riding the Biden and Trump wave and hiding and letting people campaign for him. But this is a whole new district. He's had District 9 for the past 10 years, and it's a whole new game plan. Demographics have shifted tremendously. And I don't think he's got what it takes to actually win this go around. So it's going to be a very, very interesting 2022. And I'm very excited for everybody that's going to be running alongside me.
All right, perfect. Yeah. So, your district was made significantly better, right? It's still a D+9, district, right? But that's a lot better than D+16, right? Or 15.
Not just that. I also want to say, Ron, you and Tim Walsh did exceptionally well in Bergen County. And one thing that I'm looking at is I believe you got 120,000 plus votes. Fantastic in Bergen County. And this was and most of the cities that are in my district are in your county. So seeing how well you guys did and seeing how Jack Ciattarelli and the Republicans were able to get 48% in Passaic County, which is unheard of, is incredible. So the tide is definitely turning in our favor. And I think even though on maps it shows District 9 as being blue, I would say it's more like a purple kind of district now, because lots of Democrats came and voted against Phil Murphy. Lots of them voted against the freeholders. In fact, we have one new Republican freeholder in Passaic County. Shout out to Nick Gallo. We love you. And we're doing great. So I know in 2022 that the wave that everybody's been anticipating is definitely coming. And we've got 23 Democrats that are no longer seeking to be reelected. So either they're going to get scooped up by Republicans, or we're just going to overwhelm them and replace the rhinos with people that really want to represent America and have America first policies.
Yeah. Now, Dianna, what are your thoughts on this whole process, this redistricting process that's going on?
Well, I understand it's a process that, has to happen and hasn't happened in a decade. But the fairness of it, as we know, we had Chair John Wallace, who is a retired Supreme Court justice. He was a tiebreaker, right? So we had 6 and 6. And I pulled this off of why.org, and I'm sure you guys have heard this quote, but his answer is when he voted to pick the Democratic map, and he said it's simply because the commission chose the map drawn by Republicans the last time around in 2011. So if we're talking about fairness, you don't want to pick just the map because that's the party that lost, right? So, and further on in the article, it said exactly, came out of my mouth, was Republican delegation chair Doug Steinhardt, well, we all know. He said every election is intended to be a competitive process, and I shudder to think that we're going to start selecting our candidates simply because they're the ones that lost this time. So I wanted to get your thoughts from all three of you, is what you thought about that.
All right, why don't we start with Steve? And now I know, Steve, this is Jersey politics, so it's a little foreign to you, but I'm sure
just throw me into New Jersey. I obviously I don't like establishment and other people picking who our candidates are. That's what primaries are for. So whoever's the best candidate comes out of the primary, and that's the candidate going to the general election. I think there's a status quo and an incumbency kind of feeling throughout the nation where it's just milquetoast, lukewarm candidates who are in there just not making waves and fighting for their values. And so I want to see conservative fighters and people who are going to go in there and grassroots candidates who I am inclined to supporting.
All right. Okay, Billy.
I'll be completely honest. I'm not a fan of the Republican map. I'll be completely honest. And it's not because of it wasn't a good map. The map is very good and it does help a lot of Republicans. The problem is in my district, it would turn District 9 to the equivalent of what District 8 and 10 are like. They're completely locked and gerrymandered in such a way where it's impossible for a Republican to ever win. The district was already a D16 with the new Republican map, would have changed to maybe like a D25. So in all honesty, I'm one of the few people in the state that actually benefited from the new map. I think it's a bit ridiculous that I thought they chose for more better reasons, the Democrat map. But if they're choosing it simply because, the Democrats lost last time, I think that's really ridiculous of a reason to do it. But whichever way it goes, I'm willing to run the race nonstop, but I'll just be honest. I'm very satisfied with the map right now.
Okay, and it's also interesting to note that Judge Wallace, right, the tiebreaker, it was reported that his wife, her campaign was heavily donated to by Democrats. So I mean, so there's just a little bit of bias there, right? So
a little bit,
just a little tad bit. All right, Steve, I have a few questions because it's very interesting, right? Your campaign was recently, it was endorsed by Donald Trump, right? And did you actually speak to him on the phone or?
I did. So it was the Friday before Labor Day. I got a phone call and it was from my friend Michonne. She's close with President Trump. And she asked me, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, I actually was. I was sitting down making fundraising calls. And so she said, "You're not going to believe this." She said she just got off the phone. It was a conference call with President Trump. And she said, "He's endorsing you either tonight or Tuesday." And I was like, oh, wow. I had worked, different channels with people who I knew. I was like, "Hey, will you advocate to me for President Trump?" He looked into my record. And so that night I was scrambling. I wasn't ready with the press release, with social media, graphics. I wasn't ready. So, I was kind of bittersweet because a few hours went by and I didn't know whether or not it was going to come that night. And then time went by. It was about 9-10 o'clock at night. I was like, okay, it's not coming tonight. So that gave me time to prepare. But then I had to sleep Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night, trying to get as much sleep as I could. And then I got a call Tuesday morning from President Trump's office. Again, I was making some fundraising calls, and I listened to that voicemail a few minutes later. And she said that President Trump wanted to speak with me and asked if I could give a call in. And I was like, I think I can make some time for that. So I called up, talked with him for a while. He said he liked my record and was excited to endorse me. And here we are. It's great conversation. He's the President Trump you hear in the media and see on TV all the time. He sounded the exact same way on the phone.
Okay. Now, are you planning on meeting with President Trump in the future for a fundraising event together, or?
Hoping to. It's likely that we'll do something in Florida. That is, in the works. He will definitely be coming up to Michigan for a rally at some point, and you don't know what the date is, but looking forward to that as well.
Okay. Now, are you currently the only person running in the race against Fred Upton, or are there other candidates?
So with the new 4th district, there's another Congressman, Bill Huizenga, who has 24% of this new District 4. And so he lost a lot of his district. It split 3 different ways. So Bill Huizenga is not in a very good spot with that. He's looking to run in the Upton district as well. And I'm inclined to believe that Fred Upton's trying to low-key hand this district off to Bill Huizenga, not so much to spite me, as much as I may not be his most favorite person in the world, but to spite President Trump. And I don't think they're going to be successful.
Right. Also, it's interesting to note that Fred Upton, he has a very famous niece, right? His niece is Kate Upton, the supermodel.
The one thing he's done well, yes.
Right. So I'm very curious to see if he brings Kate in to kind of campaign for him or what. I don't know.
Yeah, he hasn't yet.
Okay. Now, Steve, so what is your platform?
Well, there's way too much government intrusion in our lives. We have these mandates, unconstitutional shutdowns, coercion, manipulation of our lives. To me, we see this is almost like central planning, what we're seeing. And I'm tired of government picking winners and losers. And I think status quo politicians on both sides of the aisle are complicit in it. On one end, we have more regulations that crowd out small business competition. Then we increase the size and scope of government and then turn around and give tax breaks, grants, and subsidies to the politically connected. That's the crony system of government today. We need to rip that apart and get back to true free markets and honest trade.
All right. Now, let's see. Let's ask Dianna. So, Dianna, currently in our state, right, we have a lot of lockdowns and mandates, and it seems like this new variant is rearing its ugly head. It's closing down businesses again. What are your thoughts?
So I do agree that I think a lot more people are getting coronavirus now because of the new variant. However, I noticed that it's not as terminal. I've spoken to a lot of physicians. My father is in assisted living, and we're talking there to all the nurses there. It's not as terminal as what it used to be before, right? So it builds up our immunity as well. I think to mandate, I agree with Chitterelli, his platform. You can get the vaccine if you want, but the problem is the issue is mandating it and imposing that right and putting something in your bloodstream that you don't want to get. It's your choice. It's freedom of choice, right? So that's the problem. So I think advocating, if you want to get it, you don't want to get it. I personally got it, but it's up to you. It's your choice. And I need to protect myself then if I didn't get the vaccine. So freedom of choice, I think, is very precious. As you know, my husband and my in-laws come from Cuba, where they lost a lot of freedom of rights and they had to defect and come here to America. And they understand what it means to have that type of privilege that actually I took for granted and many of us take for granted. So I think it's a very serious question that you have to ask. And it's a very fine line on mandating something like that.
Okay. Now, in terms of the mandates and lockdowns, which state is worse? Is it Jersey or Michigan? Do you guys know, Billy?
In terms of mandates?
Yeah, like mandates and lockdowns and like everything else going on with.
Well, I'm not in Michigan. I don't know. That's
we have to compare notes, right?
Steve could probably enlighten us on that.
Right.
But 2020 and 2021 was pretty ridiculous with the lockdowns they had, especially in 2020. And seeing how this midterm could potentially or very highly likely will turn the House red, I wouldn't be surprised if the Democrats won't pull all stops and try and shut the state down again. There are, like, Governor Murphy's already talking about trying to extend his emergency executive powers to extend for another 90 days. And watch, when we hit that 90 days, it's going to end up becoming 120 days and further and further and further. So I encourage everybody that's out there, listen, just don't sit for it. Listen, I'm not someone who's all about the civil disobedience and disobeying the law, but at this point, these mandates, they just don't make any sense. They're forcing people to wear masks. Dr. Fauci says they work. He says they don't work. Numerous doctors say they don't work. They say they do work. Some say the vax works. Some say it doesn't work. At the end of the day, people should have the choice to do whatever it is that they want. If they like, and I agree with Dianna completely. Like, if you want to take the vaccine, go ahead and take the vaccine. If you don't want to take it, you shouldn't have to. But the fact that government wants to hold the carrot in front of your head and force you to do something that you don't want to do, or else you won't be able to feed your family, that's a big problem with me. And I think it's a big problem for a lot of our parents as well. I'm hearing so much from parents that are frustrated with how the schools are taking too much control and what can and cannot be done with their children. So I implore everybody, don't sit for this. New Jersey cannot afford another lockdown at all. Be safe, eat your vitamins, take care of yourself, disinfect, wash your hands, do what you got to do. But shutting down the country is just not feasible. I myself, like, Ron, I already contracted the Wuhan back in August. It was pretty bad, but I've got the antibodies. I'm really well. I got checked out not too long ago, still have the antibodies. And I personally don't see a need to go and get the vaccine, but shouldn't be forced on anybody if they don't want to take it.
Okay. Now, what about Michigan? Steve, since you are the solo representative here from Michigan, we're all very curious. What is the situation like in Michigan in terms of lockdowns, the mandates, everything else?
I hate to sound friendly towards Gretchen Whitmer right now, but the mandates are not so bad today. A year ago, we were some of the worst, if not the worst, in the nation. But lately, we're coming up on re-election. She knows her numbers are terrible; they've tanked, and so she knows that it's not politically expedient for her to mandate and shut down the state again. So that's where we're at. Fortunately, we have our freedom in that capacity, at least on its surface. But you still have all the coercion and all of the destruction that was done. And like Billy and Dianna were saying, with what I heard Billy saying was, like, there's other alternatives, like taking your vitamins and leading a healthy lifestyle. These are things that should be encouraged by government. Why is that not being encouraged? You always hear, get the vaccine, jam down your throat, wear a mask, jam down your throat, socially distance, those types of things. Well, if you want to do that, that's totally understandable. But why aren't we ever hearing about getting your vitamin D, exercising, getting a proper amount of sleep, doing things like that to prepare yourself? We can't hide from COVID-19 forever. At some point, we're going to have to look at this and say, at some point, I'm going to get COVID-19. And when that day happens, I want to be as prepared as possible. And trust in the doctor-patient relationship instead of the politician-patient relationship. That's what I want to trust. Doctors uncoerced, not afraid that they're going to lose their license if they advocate for certain avenues for treating COVID-19. And that's where I'd like to see society get back towards.
Now, Ron, I'd like to ask you a question if I can. So this is a question I'm not sure that I can get a positive answer. If you had COVID and we are told by Fauci that COVID builds your immunity and you have the antibodies just like obtaining the vaccine, why is that not considered part of you being treated? So you have to show a vaccination card and you have to be vaccinated, right? Like healthcare workers. But if they already had COVID, why is that not a replacement for the vaccine? Why do they have to get both and get double immunity when we've been told that your immunity actually is stronger when you have it, when you contract it? Do you guys know? Do you have any answer for that?
Well, okay.
Great answer.
All right. I'll just go first, right? I think it's this whole vaccine mandate has nothing to do with the actual health of the citizenry. I think this whole thing has to do with control, right? This vaccine, if you think about it, if you get the vaccine, if you're double vaxxed or triple vaxxed with the booster, it doesn't stop you from getting COVID again, right? You can still get COVID. And secondly, once you're vaccinated, it doesn't prevent you from spreading COVID. So what the hell is the point of this vaccine other than the fact that, okay, it lessens the effects of COVID if you get it? All right. Well, some people have already gotten it, right? And they have that, they have the antibodies. So that's why, it's incredulous that we're being forced to take this vaccine when a lot of people don't need it.
One thing that I could say, and just to kind of piggyback on what Dianna was saying, Senator Panaccio and Senator Testa, I don't know if you guys saw this, but not too long ago, they introduced some legislation that would allow people that already have the antibodies and have tested positive for having the antibodies to not be required to get the vaccine. And I think that's one positive step in the right direction. I personally do not trust Fauci at all. He completely botched the HIV experiments that he was doing in Africa. President Trump, he just made it illegal and made it a federal crime to abuse animals. And we just recently found out that he's been testing on beagles and practically breeding them to torture them. He sounds like a mad scientist from the type of stuff you see in movies. And it's questionable to me that the media puts so much emphasis on this guy like he's the be all and end all of science, and he's really not. There's lots of doctors that completely disagree with what he says and what he stands for. And if people want to follow him, by all means. Me personally, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, and that's not that far.
All right. Steve?
I also have reservations with the one-size-fits-all approach. If somebody wants to listen to Anthony Fauci, go for it. That's your choice. But we know that he's lied to Congress. We know that the United States funds gain-of-function research, which means man-made viruses. And all signs are pointing towards COVID-19 being a man-made virus. And so the idea of trusting Anthony Fauci, who helps with gain-of-function research, when we have what seems to be a man-made virus leak out of the Wuhan lab, which we may have had involvement in as the United States, and then also trusting Bill Gates, who believes in population control for the strategy of how best to get out of this problem. There's just too many red flags for me. I want to go back to the doctor-patient relationship. That's what I think is best for society.
Yeah. Now, Steve, just to go back to you again, I know that Whitmer, right? She's up for re-election. Is it this year?
It is, yes.
Okay. Now, is she still popular, or what is her deal?
No, she's concerned. That's why I think the mandates have been lighter lately, because her numbers are very poor. Okay. People saw what she did to their small businesses, put so many businesses, restaurants out of business. It's been terrible. It's been terrible. Thousands and thousands of businesses destroyed. And what does that do as well for the health of people? It makes people have stress. It makes people be in a less good financial situation. So they're probably eating less, not sleeping as well at night. And then come time when they get COVID-19 someday, are they going to be as well prepared with their body to fight COVID-19 after they lost their business and after they're in a financial difficult situation because of the government shutdowns? No, they're going to be in a worse situation, and it's less healthy for those individuals when they're faced with COVID-19. So this economic disaster that's caused by government control and dominance over our decisions is causing people to die. And I blame government involvement for hundreds of thousands of deaths in our country.
Okay. Steve, is there any word on what John James might do next? Because I really like him. He ran for U.S. Senate from Michigan, I think the last 2 times, right? He came very, very close in 2020, right? The same thing happened to him. Like after, midnight, the mail-in ballots came in, and then he slipped behind. But I thought he was a phenomenal candidate. Do you know if he's going to run again?
I'm hearing rumors of him exploring running for the U.S. Congress over on the other side of the state. So it is very possible that he runs.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Okay, we're reaching the 9 o'clock mark. I know that Dianna has to get going. She has an early morning. So let me very quickly give you guys the last words. Let's start with Dianna. Dianna, your last words on the redistricting process, the 2022 race, or anything else?
I think I spoke my piece about the redistricting, and I think it needs to be a fair and true, bipartisan decision, and we need to look at it. My thoughts are, if we have Republicans and Democrats, maybe we have to have an independent be the tiebreaker to figure that out. So I think there's other ways. The mandate, I think everyone knows how I feel, but Really, I want to know from Billy whatever happened with the conversation with Trump. We never heard about that. That's what I'm excited about to hear.
So my conversation with Trump was very, very brief. I met with Trump. We spoke for probably about 4 or 5 minutes. I didn't really tell him much. I said, hey, my name is Billy Prempeh. I'm running in District 9. I'm running against one of your biggest critics. He's like, who are you talking about? And I said, I'm talking about Bill Pascrell. I was like, Bill Pascrell? Oh, he's terrible. You got to beat him. You have to defeat him. And we spoke a little bit about that, and I said, listen, Trump, I'd really appreciate if I could have your support. He's like, well, I'll be paying attention. And that just was the extent of the conversation at that point. So hopefully I look to hear from him again, and we'll see what happens from there.
Great. Well, you're running a wonderful campaign. I mean, even on social media, I took a couple points from you. And I mean, I think you're really getting to the younger crowd as well. And you're really igniting and making everyone excited. So there's a lot of pointers I learned from you. So
thank you. I mean, when I ran in 2020, it was extremely difficult. We didn't have any support from any of the GOP parties. We didn't have any support from the counties. Literally nobody. It was me and 6 people and $30,000. Wow. And we were just determined to win. I wanted to prove to people that this man, Bill Pascrell, is not immortal. He can bleed just like every single one of us. He could lose just like every single one of us. And just because he's been there for 26 years doesn't mean he's undefeatable. I mean, look at what happened to Sweeney and Ed Durr. Ed Durr came out of nowhere. That guy is a national treasure with the way he ran his campaign. So that just goes to show you that just because someone's been there doesn't mean that they control the majority of the thoughts of the people. Even Democrats themselves are getting frustrated and sick and tired of what they've been seeing. A lot of them in Patterson, believe it or not, that I met would call me and ask about Jack Ciattarelli. Some of them even went out and voted for Jack, which was very surprising. And I'm talking Democrats that hate me, voted for Jack and are calling me like, hey, what's going on? Like, who's this Jack guy? The Republicans, I don't know, man. They're kind of going nuts here. So we've got a very, very, very good opportunity to turn this place red. And I can't wait to get into Congress in 2022 and introduce some of the plans that I've got for the district.
All right. Now, Billy, we heard from Steve that he was endorsed by President Trump. Are you working on that too? Are you trying to get him to, endorse you?
It's a possibility. I met with Van Drew not too long ago. Great guy. It's funny. Like I used to see the guy on television quite a bit, and I was like, this guy, he's got really, really good swagger. Like if you guys have noticed, I kind of stepped up my suit game. I give all that to Van Drew because I'm like, if I go to Congress, I got to be sharp like that guy. Funny story, like him and I actually went to the same grammar school in Patterson. That's a fun fact that I didn't know. But we spoke briefly for quite a bit. As you know, Donald Trump just recently endorsed him. From what Congressman Van Drew said, they said he's looking to endorse myself and Darius Mayfield that's running in District 12. So we'll see how that goes. That may lead to a meeting with Trump, and hopefully we'll be at Mar-a-Lago. Who knows what happens? I mean, whether we get the endorsement from Trump or not, I'm very excited to run. And I believe that if he helps us, it'll be tremendous. If it doesn't help us, it'll still be tremendous in this race. And I believe we're going to make national news, and we're going to really prove a lot of people wrong.
All right. My only request is that, this goes to Steve and, Billy. If you guys do actually go and meet President Trump,
yes,
please bring me and Dianna.
Yes, I'll bring I'll bring you on.
All right. Okay. Steve, any last words on the state of the race on 2022? Anything else?
2022 is shaping up to be a great year for Republicans, but I say we get our conservative victories in the primary and our Republican victories in the general election. And the status quo of the Republican Party is not going to save our country. We need bold conservative fighters, grassroots people who are principled, people who have convictions, and we're seeing people stand out from around the nation. President Trump has opened up this great grassroots movement. I think the grassroots is bigger today than it was in the Tea Party days. And so this is a very big opportunity for us to come in and save our country. And Republican primary voters can do that in the primaries.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Billy, I will give you the last word.
I don't think I'm going to have a primary opponent as of right now. I spoke with several of the party chairs. We seem to be very nice now, which is good. I think they see what's going on. They see that we've got a good opportunity here, but it's good. It's better to be friends, and it's better to work together for the common goal of the party than to be enemies and be at each other's throats. So
this could just be the calm before the storm, right?
It could be the calm before the storm, but I don't see any of the chairs being negative. I think they see what it is. Like this race in 2021 was a monster race. A lot of Republicans benefited, and it wouldn't make any sense to stifle any kind of growth. The momentum is definitely on our side. We only need 5 Republicans to flip the House in our direction, and I believe at least 3 of them are going to come out of New Jersey.
All right.
I'm going to be one of them.
My no said my no. I said I had the last question. Now, sorry, I have one more last question. All right. So let's go around. Steve, how many seats do you think that the Republicans will take back in 22?
37.
37. All right. Dianna?
I was thinking in the 30s as well. 33,
Okay.
35 was my initial thought.
Okay. What about you, Billy?
I'm going to be conservative because I'm a conservative, even though like I want to say all of them. I think we'll take about 15, maybe 19 seats.
All right. You know, Mike Reyes, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, he estimated like 100 seats. So I'm not sure if he's like,
You know how monster that'll be? Oh my God. That'll be incredible.
Yeah. Okay. We have a few comments here. Okay. Comment 1: red wave sweep this year, like 1994. Yep.
I was
think
4.
1994, Billy was 4 years old. I believe, Steve, you were maybe what, 2?
No, he was 4.
I was 5.
Oh, you were 5. Oh, okay. So Steve's got one more year on you, Billy.
And then we're not going to say how old I was in that year.
Just know she was paying attention.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember in 94 how many seats did we win back during that huge red wave? Do you guys know?
I wasn't paying attention back then.
Playing Sega Genesis.
Yeah, I think it was a lot. But anyway, another comment here. The weaker strain of the Omicron variant should be embraced instead of feared because it can help civilization by offering the antibodies. Yeah, I think if we just embrace these variants and stop being scared, I think it'll just make this whole thing go away sooner, right?
Well, like chicken pox?
Yeah, basically.
You go hang out with your cousin that's got chicken pox, so you get it. Remember that?
Yeah. Another one also increases crime and suicide rate.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, Holly Shapezi, Senator Holly Shapezi just put a post about that, saying how the mental suicide and mental strains has been on people, the effect that it's had, that it's been this huge.
We're bringing Billy to the Glen Rock Republican Club. When?
Another comment here. I believe this is probably from Barry Wilkes, the president.
Barry, what's going on, brother? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Club.
Yeah,
Yeah, Barry wants to bring Billy to Glen Rock. I know that Billy is very happy to go, right?
I would love to.
And of course, Steve, if you want to come, you have an open invite.
Appreciate it.
How is the weather right now in Michigan?
Freezing.
Yeah, it's a snowstorm here in Southwest Michigan today. So that's all right. We're used to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually went to Loyola University undergrad, so I felt the hawk.
Yeah.
Yes, they called it.
All right, guys. I want to thank you, all of you, for coming on today for the roundtable session. If you want to check out Billy's site, it's up on here, billyprempeh.com. You can go there, check out his campaign, his website, how to donate, right? For Steve, his website is also here, carraforcongress.com. Check out that for Steve's website. There's also ways that you can donate there, right? carraforcongress.com. I believe if you put /donate, that's how you get to the donate page. But if you just go to the site, you could just find it, right?
That works.
All right. And Dianna, I don't know if you have a website, but
I'll
take
any money that anyone wants to donate.
Yeah, if you need a website to be built, I build websites just for the record.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, I build websites.
Dianna has a Venmo, right? So if you just want to send her money,
Yes.
I'm sure she can give you her Venmo. All right. So next year this time, perhaps Billy and Steve will both be serving in Congress together as co-workers, right? And colleagues.
I'm gonna give you a big hug when I see you in DC.
We're looking forward to it, Billy.
You better be careful because Billy's a big guy. So when he gives you a big hug, it's gonna hurt.
All right. All right.
All right, guys. I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. I wish you the best of luck in your campaign, and Dianna, best of luck. I know you have an early morning, and also, for all of you who are watching, me and Dianna, we're coming out with our own show next month, right? In February, we're going to be launching a show. Me and Dianna are going to be hosting it. We're still thinking about the name, right? I think we kind of settled on Happy Hour with Ronnie and Dianna, but that's still tentative, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. You're now watching Real Talk with Ronnie live. I want to thank you all for joining, and I will see you all on Sunday. On Sunday for our regularly scheduled program, okay? All right, guys. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you
Bye.
for having me, Ron. Everybody have a good night. Best of luck.
Thank you.
2022.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. So that was the Wednesday night edition of Real Talk with Ronnie, Roundtable Edition. We're very happy to have 3 phenomenal guests, Billy, Steve, and Dianna. And once again, if you want to find out more about Steve's campaign, if you want to donate, go to carraforcongress.com, carraforcongress.com. If you want to find out more about Billy's campaign, go to billyprempeh.com, billyprempeh.com. Okay? And of course, guys, we will be back on Sunday, January 9th, okay, for our regularly scheduled Sunday night program, where we will be having more phenomenal guests on, okay? Our guest last Sunday was Ed Durr. That was a phenomenal show. If you haven't watched it yet, please go to my page, my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, and check out that interview. It was a blockbuster, show. We're currently up to almost 2,000 views in the matter of 2-3 days. So it's blowing up. All right. Okay, guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. You're now watching Real Talk with Ronnie, Roundtable Edition. I will see you all this Sunday and, of course, next Wednesday for our next Roundtable. All right. Have a great Wednesday, a great rest of the week, and I will see you all Sunday. Bye-bye.